So what does Ron DeSantis think about the current state of the U.S.-Mexico border? Well, he gave a hint yesterday. Ron DeSantis criticized the Biden administration, saying that the Mexican drug cartels control the border, not to mention the hundreds of thousands of children who get swept up in human trafficking and much more to that. He's chalking it all up to the intentional failures and neglect of the Biden administration, which he finds disgraceful and horrific. So there's a hint. That's what he thinks. Do you agree? 800-859-0WJR. So DeSantis rolls out his border policy yesterday, and basically he pledged that if elected president, he's going to declare the crisis at the southern border a national emergency on his first day in office. And he plans to secure the border by building the wall, kind of finishing it. Do what Trump didn't finish. He started, got pretty far, but didn't finish. And then hold the Mexican drug cartels accountable, and then work with other states to enforce the law. Is this a smart political move? Is this the way that he should go as a stated conservative? Let's get more now with Dave Dulio, director of the Center for Civic Engagement and political science professor at Oakland University. Dave, welcome back to All Talk.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, you know, Texas is probably an appropriate place to announce this. He and Texas Governor Greg Abbott see pretty much eye to eye on this issue because Texas has an incredibly long border with Mexico. The appropriate spot to do this?
Oh, without a doubt. I think you could go to Texas or Arizona and accomplish basically the same thing. But I think Texas, given the sort of, as you said, the length of the border there and the images that are often seen coming from places in Texas, that's the right spot to do it for the DeSantis campaign.
So he announces this policy priority in terms of U.S.-Mexico border. He's getting kind of specific. Does it sound a lot different than what Donald Trump had proposed in his border security policy ideas?
Yeah, it does not. I think the DeSantis strategy here is to try and beat Trump without the baggage. And he is, but it's a fine line, right? Because while this is a top of mind issue for many Americans, even more so in terms of folks within the Republican Party primary electorate, it's something that they want to hear the candidates talk about. But at the same time, he needs to be able to differentiate himself from Trump. And if he simply repeats or dredges back up the same Trump policies, Trump will simply say in return, well, that's fine, but I did that 4 years. It's a fine line to walk, but I think it's if he can pull it off, it's pretty smart.
Yeah, it is going to be a fine line to walk. And he didn't mention him really, I guess, by name yesterday, but he did kind of, in a sense, kind of give him a backhanded compliment to you started the wall, but he didn't finish it. But is he going to be successful enough? Because we all know historically, Donald Trump had a tremendous amount of opposition from the Democratic Party and a variety of federal judges across the country. Does DeSantis need to show how he would battle those foes of a border wall effectively? Because Trump tried and didn't complete it.
That's an interesting question because I think, on one hand, that's a question that never gets asked about other policies, right? Or policy proposals that folks running for office have. I think you could ask the thing about President's proposal.
Yeah, I think we're losing you here. Dave, we're going to put you on hold for a second and speak with Laura, our producer, and maybe we'll get a better connection there. But there was a significant, I think, support. I think if you're a Donald Trump supporter, and you agree with the way Donald Trump has handled the U.S.-Mexico border when he was in office and his policies regarding to that, I think you're going to agree pretty much what Ron DeSantis proposed yesterday. We got Dave Dulio back on the line. Dave, sorry about that. Just continue where you left off.
No, my apologies. I think that's not a question that we would ask other.
I hate to say it, we lost you again. It's okay. Maybe you get on if there's a landline nearby, which I know. Who has a landline? I don't. So I don't know if we can get better reception or better connection with you. With Dave Dulio, director of the Center for Civic Engagement, political science professor at Oakland University. Democrats, I think this was interesting. So Ron DeSantis, his border plan basically, he wants to end catch and release. by essentially detaining the individuals who cross the border illegally, which was supposed to be normal, until their hearing dates. So you put them in custody, or you send them back to Mexico or wherever their original country was. So you end catch and release, which is what Joe Biden is doing right now. They come across the border, they catch him, they give him, an appear date to sit before a judge, and then they release him back into the interior of the country, where they can basically stay here pretty much forever. They might get a court date in 7, 8, 9, 10 years from now, and if they don't show, what are the consequences? So that's one of them. The also one he wants to do is to reimpose the Remain in Mexico policies. So if you're seeking asylum at a port of entry on the U.S.-Mexico border, you're not going to enter the United States until that asylum request is approved. Dave Dulio is back on this, and I guess to finish your point there, Dave, is that Ron DeSantis has to show, okay, Donald Trump wanted to finish the wall at the border. He was not able to by order of a variety of federal judges and tremendous pushback from Democratic members of Congress. Does Ron DeSantis need to make the case that he would be able to win those various arguments and challenges by those judges and Democrats?
From the campaign perspective, I don't think he does in a Republican primary. I think he just has to show his priorities and say, this is what I would do. This is my plan, and get behind me.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. To what degree do they attack one another on this, or do you do after Joe Biden himself? Because we know for a fact that under Joe Biden, there's been more illegal immigrants coming into this country than in the previous 12 years combined under both Donald Trump and Barack Obama. So there is a crisis at the border. Trump and DeSantis really essentially agree on this. Should they and all the Republican candidates who have these similar policies just focus on Joe Biden and leave one another out of this?
Well, I think that depends on who we're talking about. I think you're going to see everybody go after Biden. But I don't think you'll see DeSantis take Trump on directly. But the reverse has already been shown not to be true. Trump will call out DeSantis on the border. He will call him out on other issues. And I think that's the smart strategy for both of them. DeSantis needs Trump supporters if he's going to win this nomination. Not all of them, but he needs to pick off some folks who are favorable to Trump and get him over to his side. And attacking Trump is not the way to do that.
Okay. And it's not to say that Ron DeSantis still, as the governor of Florida, he has a history of dealing with illegal immigration. He's signed this comprehensive anti-illegal immigration bill. He's done a lot of work in Florida. In fact, he's done what he says he wants to do as president, reaching other states who are having their own struggles with illegal immigration. He's done that with Greg Abbott, where he was in Texas yesterday. So can he just basically run on his own record, do you think, on this issue?
Well, he certainly has a record he can point to, and I think he will. But I also think he needs to demonstrate, and he started this yesterday with his announcement and his appearance in Texas, is to say, okay, here's what I would do to take my record in Florida and expand it nationally.
Yeah, that's what he's, I hope maybe he'll be successful in doing that. We'll see how he and Trump attack one another over the next year as we continue this. Dave Dulio, Director of the Center for Civic Engagement, Political Science Professor at Oakland University. Great to talk to you, Dave. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tom.
Have a good one. Your calls are up next. What do you think about this approach? Who's better at the border, Trump or DeSantis? 800-8590.